Hi, I'm Max Walker&Williams, and today we are having a look at MultiverSX. So I ran a poll on Twitter, people got to vote for a couple of days. Should my next video be about MultiverSX or ICP? And initially ICP was winning hands down, and then at the very end a lot of MultiverSX fans came in and MultiverSX won the poll by about 1 or 2%, I believe. And so here's the video that I promised. But don't worry if you support ICP or you're interested in ICP, because I will be making a video about that project too in the next couple of weeks. But it's only fair, MultiverSX won, so MultiverSX gets the video first. You should follow me on Twitter if you don't already, at @MWalker&Williams. We have a lot of fun over there. Only just recently, I asked people in a poll higher or lower. I then drew a card out of a pack, and then I drew a second card out of the pack. And if the second card was higher or lower than the first card, the half of people, or circa half people that chose that card, it happened to be higher, were right. One of those lucky people got selected at random to play the game higher or lower with me here live on the YouTubes in order to win 10,000 HBAR and a few other cool prizes. Talking of prizes and giveaways, I've got a serious giveaway that I'm going to be talking about later in this video. So if you're a collector, if you like collector cards and collectibles, and you're a fan of VV in particular, I strongly suggest you watch this video, because towards the end I'm going to be talking about a giveaway, and I've spent a lot of money on this, and it's a one of a kind, so I promise you, you're not going to be disappointed by this giveaway. Okay, jumping straight into it. Initially called Elrond, launched in 2017, so this is no new project. It's an old project rebranded, making it about 6 years old. They branded themselves at the time of their launch and in the following years, the bedrock of the next generation of global finance. The bedrock of the next generation of global finance. Pretty cool, powerful statement. Excuse me. So they were basically what Ripple, XRP are presenting themselves as. They were going to be a platform, a layer for financial institutions to build upon. That didn't happen. I think that the project got stale from what I've heard about from the community, and they decided in late 2022, just last year, to rebrand. But we'll get to that. Rebranded as MultiverSX in November 2022, kept the token ticker EGLD, which stands for Elrond Gold. I don't fully understand why they would keep the ticker from the previous name, but they have, so that's what we'll use. An all-time high of a whopping $469.47 per coin. Price today, $37.90, or £30.14 for the Kings. I was going to say Queens. In Kings money, max supply 31,415,926 coins. Current circulating supply, so the number of the coins that have been released, is 25,397,186, or 81% of the total supply is in circulation. So a pretty low maximum supply of 31 million. Bitcoin's only got 21 million, so it's really in line with kind of Bitcoin's max supply. They claim to be carbon neutral. I say claim because I couldn't find any evidence about that or how they are carbon neutral, and believe me, I looked. They have 3,200 nodes live at the moment on mainnet, and the cost per transaction is 0.00189 cent. So 100th of a cent, and 89. So really, really cheap, super cheap transaction, loads of nodes, probably decentralized, and they also, for all intents and purposes, giving them the benefit of the doubt, are carbon neutral. So huge ticks in the box as we go into this, fantastic. Looking at Google Trends, very, very important. What is the interest? You can give me all the blurb, all the information. You can have a fantastic platform that, every time an NFT is minted, 6 trees pop out of the ground by magic. It can cost nothing per transaction, but if nobody is using it, it means naught. So what is the interest? How many people are looking for MultiverSX, searching about MultiverSX, wanting to learn about MultiverSX on the Googles? Google Trends all-time high was between the 26th of February and the 4th of March. That was their all-time high that week. Today, it's at 51% of the all-time high. Now that's, just that on its own, isolated numbers, you might think, well, that's not great. It's only at half its all-time high, and you would like to think that over time, the interest in a project compounds. More people learn about it, they tell other people about it, those people learn about it, and so on. So you want to see the Google Trends all-time high constantly being broken and getting higher and higher. So what's going on? Well, let's give it some context. Because this is a project in an ecosystem, and if the interest in the ecosystem is waning in cryptography in general, then maybe it's doing quite well relatively. So let's have a look. Well, Bitcoin is at 19% of its all-time high. So that's a disaster. So all-time high of Bitcoin, people searching for Bitcoin, learning about Bitcoin, it's currently at its 19% of its all-time high on Google Trends. Ethereum, 10%. So the term Ethereum is currently at its 10% of its all-time high. ICP, I thought I'd include that one because of the nature of how this video came about, is currently at 47% of its all-time high. So MultiverseX is beating ICP in that arena. And Hedera, of course, 72% of its all-time high. In fact, that was interesting because I have an interest in Hedera Hashgraph specifically. I decided that I'd spend a little bit of time, treat myself, and have a look at all of the sort of crypto projects and how they're trending on Google versus their all-time high. And I have to say, MultiverseX is doing pretty well. Hedera is the highest I could find. So well done, Hedera. They've got 568,800 Twitter followers. Or, and again, to give context, because sometimes I look at a project and they've got far fewer Twitter followers, but they haven't been on Twitter for as long. So to make it fair, they have 9,324 per calendar month. So for every month they've been on Twitter, that's how many Twitter followers they've accumulated over that time. So pretty impressive. To give you some idea of that, again with Hedera, they've got about double the number of followers on Twitter that Hedera does. So there are three founders, Lucien Tode, Ben and Lucien Mincu. Lucien T is a very serious player in the Web 2.3 space. He founded soft32.com. You can go to the website yourself, soft32.com. I will put a link in the description below. And it's basically a website that allows you to download software. It could be antivirus software for your computer, games, stuff for building, 3D printers, anything software you can download at soft32.com. At its peak, it had 150,000 apps or programs that you could download and was receiving 10 million unique visits per month. Lucien is an investor in over 50 different companies. He's an angel investor from aerospace, fintech, biotech, that's financial technologies, biological technologies, etc. A very diverse portfolio. This guy is a serious person. He knows what he's doing when it comes to business from what I've seen. Ben M is a software engineer. There is very, very little info that I could find on Ben Mincu. He just says that he's a software engineer, and everything I look for experience, for his education, etc. All very, very small amount of information on the internet, all very sparse. Worryingly, just a side note for me personally, he describes himself as a philosopher on LinkedIn. I take issue with that because philosophers think a lot, talk a lot, and don't do much. So that's a bit of a concern. Lucien M is an infrastructure engineer specializing in complex network architectures, worked for or with over 20 educational and other institutions all across Germany. Great track record, serious person again, knows his stuff. Worth pointing out that Ben and Lucien M are brothers. So what is it? So what is the tech? So it's a proof of stake network, not proof of work. There aren't many of those. Ethereum and Bitcoin are pretty much the only two. Now Ethereum's gone to Ethereum 2.0, so it's no longer a proof of work. We all know that proof of work doesn't work, can't scale, etc. When I say we all, I mean we all except Bitcoin maxis. It's a proof of stake network. It's a true layer one, meaning that it is not a project or a token built on something else. If you have a look at the tokens like Telcoin, for example, that was a project, a platform that was built originally on top of Ethereum. It was a layer 2. These guys are a genuine layer 1. There's no one underneath them. They've got unique technology. For example, they have 3 different types of network nodes, which is not something I've come across before. And those 3 nodes are validator nodes, which of course many other proof of stake networks have, including Hedera Hashgraph. They have validator nodes, and those are the nodes that run the network. They're the nodes that most of us know about. If you're unfamiliar with network nodes and how they operate, you can watch one of my other videos about network nodes on Hedera Hashgraph, but the principle is the same, and I'll put a link in the description below for that one. You can stake on the network, you can stake to the nodes and earn rewards for doing so, and it's just your everyday node that we're familiar with. Second type of node is the observer node. So these nodes are passive nodes. There's no staking, they don't earn any rewards for the work they do, and they just read and reply information for the network, information only. So they're observer nodes. Fisherman nodes. I love the name of this because presumably fishermen have nets, and that's a great name for a node, for these kind of nodes, once you realize what they do. They are rewarded for catching malicious actors on the network. What a fantastic name. And again, they do earn rewards. They earn EGLD, the Elrond gold token, for how efficiently they catch bad actors, malicious actors on the network. They have random, so carrying on the network side, on the technology side, they have a random algorithm selection process to help secure the network, helps protect them from DDoS attacks because there's only one leader at a time, but you don't know who it's going to be. It's a random selection process. They have sharding capabilities, which means potentially 5,000 transactions per second per shard. Those are serious numbers, very, very impressive. It means that this network can scale to really, really serious numbers for transactions per second, which is obviously critical to how large a network can become without being congested, shutting down, freezing it, etc. It's also the reason that Ethereum has switched over to proof of stake from proof of work, and it's also why Bitcoin will never be money as we all thought it was what long time ago. Multi-language building, so developers learn different languages for coding, and the more languages a network can operate in, the better, because you don't have to learn a new language. There's no barrier to entry for new developers coming onto the network, Rust, OK, etc. There's a very clever, and I haven't seen this is unique, I haven't seen this with any other project. There's a very clever royalty system built into the network so that if you were to build an application on the network, you receive 30% royalties on any transactional fees that come from somebody using that software. So that's a real encourager for developers to build on the network. As long as you believe people are going to be using the network and using your project, your platform, your whatever it is that you've built on the network, your software, your code, you receive 30% royalties in perpetuity. That's passive income. That's really, really attractive to developers, provided the fees are consistent and there's a lot of people using them. Big thanks to @DBCryptoX over on Twitter. When I mentioned that I was going to be creating this video, he was one of the people that voted for the MultiverseX video. He also pointed out a couple of points to me, which I might have missed otherwise, so I really appreciate that. Thanks for pointing these out. And two things that I find important that he pointed out is that there's a mainnet update release that is going to increase potential throughput to 45,000 transactions per second. And at the same time, it's going to halve the time to finality. Their debit card, which I'll talk about shortly in XPortal, their debit card and a wave, that's a direct quote from MultiverseX themselves, a wave of utility is coming early Q3 2023. So at the time of filming, that's only a couple of months away. So it's going to be really exciting to see what this is, how it works, and also that massive wave of utility. That's going to be super interesting. Okay, let's talk about the three. So MultiverseX can basically be broken down into three different parts. The first part is XFrabric. So XFrabric is the place where you can build apps, dApps, anything you want, a product, whatever it is you want to build. So if you're looking to build a workflow system that you're then going to license out to big companies to use, you can build that on XFrabric, and they encourage you to do so. So that's for building. It's the place to build projects on top of the MultiverseX platform. The second part of this three-part offering is XPortal. Now this is your base. That's my terminology, not theirs. So it's a crypto wallet, it's a fiat wallet, a debit card. You can store your NFTs there. You can store your avatars there for the next part I'm going to talk about. And it is a portal to the metaverse. And I really like the idea of this because it's a bit like having your own room in a massive world, and it's your own safe space. You keep your money there, you keep your clothes there, you keep your art there, you keep all your digital assets there, but it's your own safe space for all Web3 related products, activities, etc. It's your base, it's your home. And then you can leave that through the app, through the portal, into XWorlds. And XWorlds is a metaverse that MultiverseX are building. And then it isn't a walled garden, meaning it isn't the only world that will exist. If other people build on the network, then there will be multiple worlds and they will all connect. So you can go into the world, you can meet up with your friends, watch TV, do all that sort of stuff, watch a film together, go to a concert, whatever it might be, with the right headgear on in the metaverse. And then you can go back to the portal. If you've bought something at the concert, if you whatever, you can keep it in your XPortal, your base. So a really, really well thought out and so far well executed, fairly well executed offering. XFrabric, XPortal, XWorlds. Really, really straightforward, really, really simple, and just, yeah, really, really well branded. So moving over to the other side of the board, we're going to go through the positives. Strong team behind the project. These guys are serious and they're able to deliver. We know this because they have delivered several products on Metaverse X, which I'll touch on in a second. Fantastic branding. I have to say, a few of the people I spoke to from the Elrond days aren't particularly happy about the new name. They're not over the moon about it being all about the metaverse because it's reliant on lots of other hardware, but we'll get to that in a second. But as far as the website goes, I have to say, and I've seen a lot of crypto-based websites, it is the best one by far in terms of aesthetics. User experience. It's really nice to look at. There's things to play with, engage with. It's a very cool website, and that is important because these projects don't have shop windows. They don't have, most of them, except Solana, who do have some shops. They don't have physical presences on the high street, and so the only place you can really interact with them and see what they're about, see their shop, is their websites. And so I put a lot of attention into the website because it tells me who these people are, what they're trying to achieve, and how seriously they take engagement with potential investors, the public, etc. Websites are a really good indication if things are out of date, if information isn't easy to find, it isn't clear. It tells me a lot about the people building the project. And their branding is spot on. I think it's fantastic. I highly recommend you go and check it out. Again, I'll put a link in the description below, but it's multiversex.com. Relatively large and incredibly passionate community. So as the ICP community found out, the Multiverse X community are not to be messed with. They are very, very vocal on Twitter, very, very passionate. And when I said I was going to be creating this video, I got bombarded with information from people saying, check this out, look at this, look at that, look at the other. I was even offered, for the first time ever by a cryptographic community, I was offered research help to make sure that I had all the facts for this video. I didn't take any of it because it's very important to me that I find the information for myself. And I want to go into it knowing nothing about the project because that's how everybody else who discovers the project for the first time are going to look at it. I don't want people spoon feeding me information across the board. I want to go into it, clean slate, and I want to be able to see the wood for the trees. If it's hard to find a piece of information, you guys need to know that. And if it's an important piece of information, why is it so hard to find? I don't want to be told it so I know it, so I'm not looking for it. What they do very well. I downloaded the XPortal wallet, the app, onto my iPhone, and I've been playing around with it. I've been looking at the NFT marketplace on there, which is fantastic. And I have to say, it's fantastic. Super easy user experience, really good interface. So what they do, to be fair to them, they do incredibly well. XPortal is a pleasure to use and is real quality. If, and I've underlined if, and I'll get to that, they achieve what they set out, they will become a behemoth. Multiverse X will be a behemoth in the Web3 crypto space. They will be a one-stop shop for all your Web3 based needs. NFTs, fintech, dApps, apps, everything you can possibly conceive, you can do through these three projects. Transferring crypto to friends, buying things with fiat, a debit card in real life to connect the whole experience, metaverse, multi-metaverse worlds, learning experiences, entertainment, NFT digital assets that you can then take that you've bought on the NFT platform on XPortal and then take them into the metaverse, use them in game, use them with your friends and entertain, etc., and chat and all that sort of stuff. So these guys, if they're successful, will be a serious player in the game. didn't throw in the towel when Elrond failed. And I put failed in inverted commas because to use the word failed isn't completely fair. Elrond didn't fail, it just didn't do much. And it certainly never became the bedrock of the next generation of global finance. You know, and people might not like that I've said that. Fans of MultiverseX might not like that I've said that, but facts are facts. Companies that are absolutely killing it, doing incredibly well, growing, aren't rebranding. Okay, Apple has no intention to rebrand. Tesla has no intention to rebrand. Companies generally rebrand when there's an issue. Outdated, losing market share, scandal, all those kind of things. I'm not suggesting that the scandal or anything like that is what's happened here, but whether you like it or not, companies do not rebrand unless there's a need to. I also note that although they didn't fail, it was stale. From what I've spoken to people in the community, they realised that they'd hit a dead end. And I really like the fact that they didn't throw in the towel. They didn't, what we call in the crypto space, rug. They didn't pull the rug from under people and leave and just leave people abandoned with a coin now worth nothing. They decided to double down, recommit, rebrand, rethink about it. And they came out of the gate with a brand new strategy with a huge launch party in Paris in November of 2022. Okay. So those are the good things about MultiverseX. Massive, massive potential. Huge, huge potential. Real world use cases, potential. Fantastic products from what currently exists in place. Now we have to look at the risks. And there's a few. This isn't a new platform. It's an old platform rebranded. Judging by price action, not a rebranding that their own community seem to care about. So if you imagine you bought Elrond coins, tokens in 2017 or 2018, you're a holder of these tokens, believing in this company, in this brand, for 6 or 7 years, 5 years. And then they decide that it's not getting the traction that they hoped. And so they decide to rebrand and relaunch. And it's a massive success. They go big. They've got the XFrabric, the XPortal, the XWorlds. They've got a brand new website that's fantastic. Cool user interface. Ben is a fantastic speaker. He's up on stage doing his thing on the mic. And the price movement is practically nil. The token doesn't go up. It doesn't go down. I think it goes up about 1% around the time of the conference, of the launch. So you've got all these people in the community and there's this massive relaunch, the largest thing to ever happen in Elrond's history, and no one seems to pay any attention. Nothing happens. Ever since, there's been a downward trend in the price of Elrond Gold, EGLD, should I say, of 36.7% today from the announcement. So from the announcement, there have been peaks and troughs, but generally the trend is down, and it's down 36.7% since the announcement, and a whopping 1,217% from the all-time high. Of course, looking at it in context, the whole market is down. So you would expect that there would be a drop if Bitcoin, again, I've explained before, this industry, these platforms are relatively new, and Bitcoin's gravity is so large that when it drops, other platforms that are doing perfectly well or announcing big things drop with it. That said, there are exceptions, and Hedera Hashgraph, for example, Bitcoin was falling off a cliff at the time. Hedera announced that the NHS, the 11th largest employer in the world, were tracking COVID vaccine temperatures in transit in real time, and Hedera's price was going up while the rest of the whole market was dropping. So, and there are several examples of price action going up despite the whole market falling. And this was a huge thing for Elrond, now MultiverseX, but nevertheless still a drop, and a significant drop, 36.7% since the announcement. And the announcement's been in the bear market, so you can't blame it all on the bear market. Winter is coming. So if interest is down half from all-time high, and if the price action is down 36.7%, and if some of the other points that I'm going to get to are true, which they are, then I only believe that we're going into a period where things are going to get considerably harder, and a lot of projects aren't going to survive. And I'm nervous for MultiverseX because they are taking on so much. Which brings me on to my next point. Huge task on their hands fighting established players and huge companies all at the same time and on different fronts. So what do I mean? Well, XFrabric is a platform for developers to build on, but so is Hedera Hashgraph, so is Solana, so is the circa 16,000 other projects out there. So these guys are setting their stall out to compete with all other Web 2 and Web 3 platforms to build on. But at the same time, they've launched XPortal, and they're competing as a wallet, as a sort of social media, WhatsApp type central hub. They're competing with the likes of Crypto.com. Well, Crypto.com has a fortune of money, already has large market share, and is struggling. They've had to claw back some of the rewards that they offered to people who took their debit cards. I know because I was one of them. I signed up, tried it out, and we were promised Netflix subscriptions, 12% cash back on all purchases and all sorts of nonsense. They realized that wasn't viable and pulled it back. But nevertheless, if the market, what I consider to be the market leader in this space, is struggling, these guys are trying to knock those guys off their perch. On Crypto.com, you can do the exact same stuff, except you can do more of it. And I have to say, it's a slightly more professional user experience. And so they've got a real battle on their hands, and that's just with Crypto.com. There are a plethora of very similar NFT-based, crypto-based, fiat-based wallet type experiences. And then at the same time, they're taking on Meta. Now, say what you like about Mark Zuckerberg, but he is potentially going to go from one of the richest men in the world to one of the poorest men in the world, and it's all because of Facebook turning to Meta. He has gone all in on the metaverse, which, by the way, I personally think is fantastic because it helps get the word out there, and it helps by osmosis. It helps the entire cryptographic ecosystem generally. They're putting a fortune into hardware because the software can be as good as you like. But if you've got a set of goggles that you put on that are big, cumbersome, battery doesn't last long, makes you feel nauseous, makes you feel sick, etc., then the software isn't going to get used because you haven't got the hardware to get into it. Now, Meta aren't going to allow MultiverseX to use their Oculus headset. So how are people going to enter into the XWorlds without a generic, really good quality set of glasses in order to do so? They're relying on external hardware in order to facilitate their software. But even if they solve that problem and somebody comes out with an amazing Oculus type hardware that doesn't make you feel sick and it's fantastic, you put it on, it's seamless, maybe even a contact lens, who knows? Even if they have that, they still have to fight with the likes of Meta, who have more billions than these guys probably have millions to invest into this development. So they've got a real fight on their hands, and they're fighting 3 different fights with 3 different sectors all at the same time, and they need them to work. Otherwise, the whole thing, in my opinion, falls away. They're trying to be a master of all 3 trades rather than an expert of one. And if I'd been in the rebranding meeting, I certainly would have voiced my concerns, saying, are we sure we want to go after Meta, Crypto.com, Twitter, who are now, only a couple of days ago, Elon Musk was tweeting about bringing out a video caller experience and then maybe some sort of metaverse edge to it, etc. So we really want to go toe to toe with everybody, basically, all at once. That's the task. And that is why they will become a behemoth if they win. But by God, have they got a struggle on their hands. Okay, all at the same time, different things. Meta, Crypto.com, VV. I mean, that's just one small company that you may never heard of, who are absolutely fantastic at what they do, and they concentrate on one thing, and they're a real contender to MetaverseX. And even if you say, well, yeah, okay, so, but these guys are going to appeal to the people because they do so many different things on so many different levels, and it's a one-stop shop. Yes, but that's all very well and good, but you also need to have the brands and the customers for those people to engage with. Well, VV have pretty much got Disney tied up, and they're doing a fantastic job. So you've got to convince VV's clients to leave VV in order to get them on XWorlds or on XPortal. It is a zero-sum game, and every customer that every other platform has, these guys probably don't. Talking of VV, if you remember at the beginning of this video, I said I was going to be talking about a giveaway. Well, guess what? I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing David Yu and Daniel Crothers, the two co-founders of VV. VV is an incredible collectors platform. If you're a fan of VV, you're going to want to check this out. What people don't know is that I collected our exhibitors badges and our visitor badges. There was only about 300 people at the show. It's a very small show, very intimate, but very, very cool. There's only about 300 visitor badges. And by the way, DCon, DesignCon in London, is growing year on year. So it's going to become a massive show. And at the very beginning, I think it was in year 2 or 3 of the show, we have got the original collector's cards. So what was really cool about DCon is that where the entrance pass is a collector's card. And we have 3 of these visitors cards. And there's only about 300 in existence, and I'm guessing most people didn't keep them. Some will have been lost or damaged. We have them in absolute mint condition, framed with a photograph of me interviewing David and Dan. The visitor's card is signed by both David and Dan, as is the exhibitor's card. The exhibitor's card, there was only about 50 exhibitors, and I guess not all of them kept their exhibitor's cards. So there's only 50 of these in existence. DCon use a different card, entry card, collector's card every year. So this will be the only one. And as the event grows, it's only going to get more and more valuable. Same with VV. As they grow, again, it's got the signature of both Dan and David on the exhibitor's card. I have 3 of these to give away and 3 of these to give away. If you want to be in with a chance of winning these incredible pieces of memorabilia, whether you're a crypto fan, a VV fan, Disney, collectible cards, or just an investor and you want some potential future capital appreciation, then this is definitely a competition for you. I'm going to be announcing details of the competition over at Twitter, at Walker&Williams. If you follow me there, you will very shortly hear an update about how you can get your hands on one of these 6 incredible prizes. Okay, back to it. There are some red flags in MultiverseX, and they're not proven, and it's not a massive problem, but there is some nuances I don't fully understand. They have 500,000 followers on Twitter, but only 45,967 people have signed up for the debit card. So the debit card isn't currently live, so I can't really judge it because this entire thing is incredibly early. I can't really judge how the card's going to work, what the fees are going to be, etc. But only 45,967 people, according to their own website, have signed up for the debit card as an expression of interest. Those are tiny, tiny, tiny numbers. To give you some sort of idea, little old me on Twitter has videos that get more views than that, full views than that, and you don't have to commit any money. You literally just have to give your name, your email address to be notified when the debit card's ready for sign up. And only 45,967 people have signed up for it. No one seems to be building anything, or that's not fair. Not many people at all seem to be building very much on MultiverseX. There's no other wallet providers, so there's only XPortal. Even the smallest projects that I look at and have covered and invested in have got multiple wallets. Hedera is a newer project than this one, is half the Twitter following and has a plethora of fantastic wallets designed and created by other people. Hedera don't even have their own wallet. That's how kind of developed the network is relatively to these guys. There's 6 or 7 really good hardware, cold, hot wallets, variations of the both, custodial, non-custodial, a real mix. There is no other wallet than XPortal on MultiverseX, meaning if you want to store that NFT or whatever it might be, you're storing it with these guys, and that's pretty centralized. There's no other exchanges. Not completely true. There are people building an exchange called J Exchange. I'll put a link in the description below to their website. But as you can see, they haven't even got a white paper yet. They've got a light paper. So that's why I say there's nothing being built. So the only exchange is the MultiverseX exchange. There is no other third-party exchange on the platform. And there's nothing much happening on the network in terms of number of transactions. On their own website, they've completed 317,515,480 transactions at the time of filming. To give you an idea, to give you some context on that, Hedera, which is a newer platform, completed more than that number of transactions in the last 3.6 days. There have been seconds where Hedera has completed more transactions in that 1 second than this platform has completed in a week. 317 million transactions, lifetime mainnet transactions, 3.6 days on Hedera Hashgraph. So that gives me some real concern, because that is really the bottom line. That's cutting to the chase. You can have the best, coolest website in the world, but again, if nobody is using your project, it's for nothing. And there's 317.5 million transactions on mainnet so far, 3.6 days of Hedera time. I have centralization concerns, and these are compounded by the fact that nobody seems to be talking about them. You could say with other platforms, they're more centralized. You know, there's a solid argument that Bitcoin's certainly more centralized, Hedera more centralized, but Hedera has been centralized by design so that they could build their castle before they opened up the gates. And they're going down their white paper and they're opening up to the platform. It makes no reference of the fact, it doesn't allow for the fact that they're the only wallet, they're the only exchange, they're the only place you can buy and sell an NFT, they're the only place you can hold your token, etc. No community governance. So there is no community governance. There's not even community keys through some sort of governance, meaning any changes made to the network are changed exclusively by the people who control the network. There can be no Hedera improvement proposals, for example, HIPs. There can be no changes by community members, and there is no governance. There's no oversight by the community. There is no voting. So should we do this or should we do that? Let's have a vote. Allow people with tokens to vote, etc. It is completely centralized in that sense. And you might say, yeah, but Max, that's all well and good. And as they onboard more people, maybe they'll look like Hedera are doing at a community node, etc. And it'll open up. Yeah, but there's a couple of barriers to entry to that. And the first one being, I mentioned earlier that they have 3,200 nodes. And you think, wow, that's decentralization. But who owns those nodes? Who's operating those nodes? It's the lion's share by a country mile is MultiverseX themselves, the foundation. And one of the biggest barriers and one of the biggest reasons and barriers to entry for running a node is that you need 2,500 EGLD in order to run a node. Even at today's price, at the 1,217% down from its all-time high, that's $93,825. Would you invest $93,825 to run a node on this platform? Maybe you would. Devs struggling to build APIs limited, wallet connect bugs, etc. One of the absolute keys to the success of this project is attracting brands to sell their wares and engage and use it, etc. The second one is getting a large community, which they seem to be doing through Twitter, etc. And the third is getting developers building on the network. And they know this. And they know this well because they're offering that 30% royalty. However, the people that are building on the network that I have spoken to and that I've watched videos about and video tutorials, etc., is that they're having real issues building out their own applications on the network, particularly with APIs and with Wallet Connect bridges. So that seriously needs addressing, and seriously needs addressing seriously quickly, because if there aren't enough transactions on the network, i.e. not many people are using it, if there are no brands because they're all in VV, other competitors, etc., crypto.com, etc., and if the final blow to this will be if people can't build on the network, they won't, and they'll leave. And wherever the developers are is where all the customers are, because it's where all the products are. Because if you could do something XYZ super, super cool on that platform, it's easy to code, it's easy to hire people, it's easy because there's a plethora of people on who are ERC20, for example, Ethereum, then they're going to get all the developers, then they're going to get all the cool software, and they're going to get all the cool apps, features, etc. They're the go-to for businesses to say, can you build me this? Yes, I can, no problem. I need to hire a person to do this. Yeah, I know that code, Yeah. If it's hard to build on a platform, it's incredibly hard for anyone to use it. Transparency. Okay, all of the stuff they do incredibly well. I want to reiterate that because they really do. But there needs to be more transparency. when I'm looking on the website, and by the way, preparing this video is no joke. It takes me a very long time to delve through everything to give a project the fairest chance possible. Their website, as cool as it is, when you actually want to find out information, it sort of does itself a disservice. It says on the homepage that it is carbon neutral. Totally carbon neutral. Okay, click on it, doesn't click. Oh, okay, so how are you totally carbon neutral? Completely carbon neutral. Brilliant. How? Yeah. Don't know, can't say. Transaction costs. We charge 0.00189 cent per transaction. Okay, fantastic. What type of transaction? I don't know another platform that charges a flat fee for all different types of transactions. It doesn't exist because it would be relatively super expensive to do a particular type of easy minting an NFT. Super simple, super straightforward transaction. If it's the same price to mint an NFT as it is for some smart contract or fintech based transactions, then the NFT price is really, really super expensive, or that much cheap, depending on how you look at it. But I don't know another network that say that's the fee, because it doesn't make any sense, because there are all different types of transactions. So there should be a sliding scale of costs. To do X costs Y. To do A costs B. Incredibly difficult to find. I would say impossible. It isn't priced in US dollars. The gas, as they call it gas, is priced in EGLD. But is it fixed? Because it doesn't mention. So I don't know, looking at it, if that's the price quoted today or if that's the price fixed. I only know one platform that fixes the cost of transaction in US dollars, and that's Ideo Hashgraph. I thought I'd found a second, and I really haven't, or at least I don't know if I have, because I can't find the information. Energy consumption. There's mentions of it. Oh, and by the way, if you try and find it through third parties, Google, Reddit, etc., there are seriously contradictory energy consumption figures and carbon neutrality figures as well. So real sort of, I don't understand why projects don't have a page, lose all the wishy-washy, spinny-roundy effects that they have on their website, get rid of all that. I want a page that says, this is the price to mint an NFT. That's the price to send a smart contract. This is the amount of energy we use for this. This is the amount of energy we use for that. But don't worry, we are carbon neutral, and this is how. This is what we do. Dead simple, straightforward. This is the stuff that enterprise businesses and anyone serious in this space wants to know. Cut to the chase. This is great. How many transactions? Fine. The nodes, where are they and which ones are doing what? Node locations. I've come across platforms that are far, far inferior to what I've seen on MultiverseX, but their websites at least give me the information I know to make an informed decision about a platform. And MultiverseX doesn't do that. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that if they say they are carbon neutral, completely carbon neutral, that they are. But how? I want to know. There's one more thing. Ben is a completely fantastic speaker. I wish I had half the talent he does. When he's on stage rocking that mic, because I must explain, to create these videos, I don't just do research on the website, the platform, the white paper. I watch interviews with the founders. I watch other people's content about the platform, good and bad. Why I'm never going to buy MultiverseX, why this is a con, why that isn't going to work, why it's the best thing in the world, why it's going to go to the moon. I watch them all. But I also watch interviews and lectures from the founders if they're available, and there are a lot with Ben, particularly with the rebranding and the launch. And as good a speaker as he is, when he's asked very specific questions that should have very specific answers, we don't get them. And I wish I had the opportunity to interview him, because I'm rooting for MultiverseX. I want them to win. I want them to be in the game. But I also need to know how they're going to do that. And there's actually, I don't do this very often, but I'm going to share with you one of the videos that I watched as part of my research. It's an interview with Ben, with Crypto Vinia. Listen to the answer that he gives to this question. And the question is a great one, and it's a question that I still have. You need to attract a lot of people. In order to call yourself XWorlds, You need a lot of people to call yourself a world. Simple question. How are you going to attract people to this world? Now listen to Ben's answer.
Okay, we've been talking about the metaverse, but where are the users? There's not enough users to call it a world yet. How do we bring in the users?
I mean, we've thought really hard about 3 new products. We've in fact unveiled several products that we already have launched, and people can look at them in a new light through this ecosystem that we have. But specifically, we've unveiled 3 products that we believe will be fundamental and extremely important for the new world that we're building. And one of them is XFrabric. XFrabric is, in simple terms, the layer that will fundamentally underpin this entire new world, that will offer very simple and very useful applications to all businesses, brands, companies, and so forth. But moving beyond that, it's also the layer that will underpin all these new applications in the metaverse world or in the multiverse that we're building. So having this essentially through the MultiVerse idea, we're trying to open a bridge between worlds, then spanning it across worlds in a way where if you look at XFrabric, this will not be useful only for the world that we're living in right now, but it will also be extremely critical for the new worlds that we're building, precisely because it provides persistency, it provides a premise and a fundamental layer through which you can define the rules and so forth for the metaverse. And so it's extremely, extremely important, and we're quite excited about that.
I don't know how you felt about that, but he asked a very simple question. How are you going to attract people into XWorlds and onto MultiVerseX in general? And his answer is to talk about the 3 products. How are you going to attract people into your XWorlds, Ben? Well, we have a wallet, and we have a platform for people to build on, and we're going to have a metaverse, and we're going to have a debit card, and it's fantastic. No, I understand the white paper. I understand the promise. I understand that what you've built is great, and I understand what you're attempting to do, but how are you going to get people to use it? Well, we've got a wallet, and we've got a metaverse, and we're gonna have other metaverses in, and we've got did I mention that we've got a wallet and a debit card coming out? So, and that, I understand that I'm cherry picking one answer, but you watch as many videos as I have, you are not gonna see anything other than what I slightly unfairly deem fluff. Fantastic talk about, and watch the video actually. I'm going to end this video with the video from their homepage, and you tell me if you get any real information out of the main video on their homepage. They talk about sparks, the beginning of life. I mean, it's a bit presumptuous, but a bit God complex. The meaning of life, expansion, the Big Bang. Okay, great, but you know, are you carbon neutral? And how are you? What's the cost per transaction? Are there any other wallets? Who is operating the nodes? Give us something, let us look under the hood, etc. Where's the community governance? Yeah, I know, but Big Bang and sparks and energy. I'm being a little bit unfair just to make the point, because I do get frustrated at these projects that aren't more transparent and open, because that was the whole point of Web3. That's why we're all here. It's about peer-to-peer, decentralized transparency, honesty, doing away with corruption, and all of the other bad stuff that came out of Web 2 is Web 3. Except here we have a fantastic potential CEO, a potentially fantastic platform, and we seem to be inundated with fluff and buzzwords and pretty videos and fantastic websites, but no real content. I hope that you found this video informative. I hope that you believe that I've been fair, whether you like MultiVerseX or you don't. I believe I have been. I think it's got fantastic potential as a project. I really, really do. And honestly, I can't overemphasize what they do so well. But we are yet to see so much of the promises that they have made. Debit card's not live. There isn't too much you can do with XPortal. XWorlds doesn't exist. It's all coming soon. I am definitely going to revisit this project in a year or so's time, maybe less if they announce and deliver a lot of what they say they will, and we'll see where we are. But I think the future for MultiverseX is interesting, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on this one. If you were to ask me, should I invest in EGLD? My answer would be no, because at £30, £37, it's a lot of money for a token. It's a long way off its all-time high, but many tokens are. But I just think for you to invest in this token and spend $37 or £30, then for that to double, it's got to get to 60. Well, that's a lot of money. To double, it's got to get to 60. For something like Hedera Hashgraph, for example, at the moment it's 4.5 pence. For it to double, for you to double your investment, it's got to get to 9 pence. And I think, and I understand that it's context and it's relative because of the market cap, but just psychologically, if nothing else, is it easier or harder for Hedera to get from 4.5 pence to 9 pence, or for this project to get from as good as $38 to $72? I don't see it in terms of likelihood. But I could be wrong, who knows? Maybe it's the best investment that anyone could ever make, but that's the future and nobody can see it. I hope you found this informative. As always, thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you soon.